You made it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 175 of RickCast, the last one before I take my break. We'll call it the late summer, early fall break here at RickCast. And so I apologize for the late start. Um, I had to cover for an LTC today, and those LTCs, they always run until like 4:30. By the time I get home, get some food. Had a little bit of food to break the fast. I fasted all day per Pope Leo the 14th. Um, and then I actually had to prepare for the show. I don't have enough time in that, so that's why I pushed the show once again back to this time. And so we are going to talk, and it's a good show. I'm going to kind of wrap up the week with some interesting headlines here. I'm not going to talk about Cracker Barrel. I'm done talking about Cracker Barrel. It's absolutely stupid. I kind of agree with Steve Cunningham from last night that it's nothing more than another cultural distraction, and um, it's dumb. I don't even like Cracker Barrel. I do not. I don't. I said that day one. I think Cracker Barrel is trash. Where's my ring? My ring's around here somewhere. There it is. Cracker Barrel is trash. It's not good food. The atmosphere is shenanigans from Super Troopers, right? And, the restaurant with all the kooky crap on the wall. Oh, you mean shenanigans? That's Cracker Barrel in a nutshell. And so I don't care. Let them lose all the money that they want to lose. Doesn't bother me. And I'm not going to waste a segment of time to do that. I got four stories for you, and then I'm going to release you for the next week. Now stay subscribe, check in with RickCast on YouTube, because I will be dropping some content in the shorts, which is such a dumb name. Reels, the shorts or reels or any of that. The short form content will continue all next week from where I'm going on when I'm on vacation. So there will be new content for the week. But outside of that, there's no, there's not going to be anything new, obviously. But outside of that, there will be stuff. And yeah, we're gonna get to it. I'm sorry, I'm kind of like I'm off. Um, every one of you will agree that the days before vacation can be a little stressful because you have all the. I mean, for those of you that have taken a vacation, the stuff you got to do to get ready for the vacation is almost as stressful as everything else. So running around getting that stuff done, which is all been done, by the way, in addition to covering for my buddy, which I have no problem doing with the LTCs. I love doing the LTCs, so I'm more than happy to do so. But it just kind of runs together. So we'll see how the rest of this goes tonight here on RickCast. I think it's going to be fine, and I think it's going to be actually very enjoyable. And I'm glad you guys are hanging out with me on this beautiful Friday evening. So let's see here. We are going to be talking about John. What's a vacation? I know I'm very European in that regard. What can I say? I'm very European in the fact that this is actually to be fair, this is the only actual time my wife and I are not away from the home taking care of somebody else or helping with family stuff, and this is the only actual vacation time away that her and I get. So I know it's very strange and it seems like it's kind of stupid, but for my wife and I, we enjoy it. So we'll be doing that. But for those of you that don't know what a vacation is, it's a theoretical concept. It's a theoretical concept where you go to a place and you enjoy it without the certain stresses of life. That's the idea. Yeah, I would actually kind of classify this more as a retreat. I'm going to tell my wife that it's more of a retreat than an actual vacation, because we're going to be when we go there, it's very spiritually renewing when we actually go there. So we'll make sure to enjoy it. But we're going to talk about John Bolton and his mustache were raided. Then after that, it looks like the Democrats are trying to get a hold of the monster that they created, i.e., now they have a list of words that you should try to not say. They're trying to police Democrats in an attempt to win back moderates or just non-woke people or any of these other kinds of things. So it's actually kind of funny to watch. Then Miss Maxwell, the lady who's on work release, her transcripts dropped, and some very interesting things were said on this transcript that has libtards' heads exploding. And then finally, I'll give you some box office preview. I will be able to drop a video Monday morning that will talk about the box office results. I do box office results every Monday on RickCast Review. So go over there and subscribe to the channel. And to help you all out, I think I'll just drop said channel in the live chat. If you're interested in any of my movie reviews. I have a movie review coming out tomorrow on a film called Americana, starring the one and only Sydney Sweeney, which she wasn't sexualized or nasty or any of these other kinds of things. It could have been a really good movie, but it just kind of fell off the rails. But my review of the film Americana drops tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time, maybe 11 p.m. Eastern. 11 a.m. Eastern. And then the box office review will drop at about 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday. And that'll be the last bit of stuff that I will record and make. Actually, no, that's not true. I have one more movie review that I'm going to have scheduled for the following Saturday. I have to record that tomorrow. So all the things, and I have an advanced pistol class I have to do tomorrow. Peter, I will tell you this much. She is the best part of the film. And that's not even me being a joking way. She is the emotional center, and she accomplishes it, in my opinion. There's a relationship between her, and I don't know if you saw the movie about the Atlanta City bombing by the Olympic bombing in Atlanta by Clint Eastwood, the guy who played the lead in that, Paul Walter Hauser. He's in this film, and they have a very sweet, non-sexual relationship. So the problem is, outside of the two of them, the rest of the film is unfocused and tries to juggle too many things. If the film was just about Sydney Sweeney's Penny Joe character and Paul Walter Hauser's Lefty, I think it would have been a very enjoyable film to watch. But the film does not agree with me and has all these other wackadoo things and weird plot elements, and it just kind of goes all over the place. Like I said, if you're really interested in it, the review will drop tomorrow at 10 Central Time, 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So, no, Michael, we're just getting started. You didn't miss anything. I'm just going over the last minute things that I'm getting set as I head off. Stuff for the week. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel or on Instagram if you're following me at Stradcath ST. Actually, I'll just put it here put it down low. Put it on the down low. It's also Strat. That is also my Instagram handle if you have one of those. So check out Instagram. I will have there as well from my trip, my retreat, if you are interested in any of that going on. So, it's for those of you that know, and I really got to stop talking about this, but I'm very excited about it. There's the Holy Stairs across the street from St. John Lateran. I'm going to attempt to climb them, on the knees, doing the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to that, and among many, many other things. So we're gonna be good tonight. So let's get this stuff together. Let's get this stuff rolling here on RickCast. By the way, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, share the show with everybody you know. The last two shows, and I think it's because of you guys, have really done well as far as Wednesday show had almost 400 views on it, which I know is a pittance to the big channels, but for RickCast, we only have 217 followers. So to get 400 views on the channel is a huge deal. And then last night's show, the last time I checked, was at like 180, which is very good. You know, hitting triple digits for this live stream is always great, and it's always appreciated, and it's because like that's, you know, you guys. And that is, so if you can show on your other social media platforms, retweet it, like, comment, do all the things that the wrenches are doing all that, right? My wrenches, they take care of business, and I appreciate every single one of them and what they're doing. It looks like we have a decent amount in the toolbox. I think we have a really, it is, I'm telling you, it is the wrenches, because everything I did before then, I was getting 45, 55, 65 views. So to hit triple digits for me, here's the crazy thing, and I don't mind telling you guys, we've hit the mark as far as hours watched on this channel because of you guys. We've hit the hours watched milestone. You got to get like 3,000 watch hours and 500 subscribers minimum to start monetization. As you can tell, we're at 217, which is not we don't have the members, we don't have the subscribers numbers yet to start monetization stuff, but we've absolutely killed it. We have like 34,000 watch hours on this show, which if you followed me with the daily mag dump, and I did that for almost the same amount of time, only got about 9,000 views. So this show has far and away outperformed anything that I did with the daily mag dump, and that's because of the wrenches and the bar rats really pulling the weight, pulling the entire weight of the show, and pulling my my hefty butt across the finish line. So we're really trying to get the yeah, right. I did well. The daily mag dump was always going to be a reach. The daily mag dump was always going to be a really hard thing because it was a gun channel, and YouTube was going to suppress that that material no matter what. Right? I got it, and so the best views I ever got on that was maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000 on a video. I've gotten that a couple times on these. I've got a couple live streams where I've hit 1,000, and then a couple videos. One video, the Lily Phillips video, back in February or something, hit like 11,000 views, which I was absolutely crazy on because it was such a random thing. And then I've had a couple other videos that I've done well. So it's not me. It is the wrenches. It is the support you guys give to the program. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing that. Yeah, right. We got the stuff, man. We're talking about John Bolton. We're talking about Maxwell. We're talking about how the Democrats are trying to word police their own people. Those are the three stories that I felt were the most impactful of the day. Kind of looking around at everything else. I know the John Bolton story is right because Timcast is leading with it. That's their first story of the night. So we're doing something right. We're at least in the same ballpark as far as keywords and SEO search and all that stuff. So if, you know, this show does, I'd like this show to at least hit another 100. I'd like it to hit at least 100. You know, that would be 3 shows in a row with triple digits. And I know, you know, larger channels may look at me and be like, I get that in the first 30 seconds. Well, I'm not you, man. This show is a slog, and my personality probably doesn't help. And the fact that people even tune in, and I've said this time and time again, I'm saying it to the same people. I'm really saying it to anybody in the rewatch. The fact that people tune into this show for any amount of time and get any enjoyment out of it, even if it's just to hang out in the chat with the other people, that's that feels good. It feels good to have even a tiny bit of success here, and that success is because of you. All right, we are gonna just jump right into it tonight because I don't know how much steam I have, so we're gonna get to it. This program is brought to you by the excellent people at tradflags.com. Tradflags.com. Check them out. The great people over there, Keith and all the other great people that are there hanging out and making quality products for Catholics to be able to evangelize and to spread the message. Now, as I've been saying, we only got 8 days left in the month of August, so the time to get the Immaculate Heart of Mary flag maybe a little over. Maybe you want to get it for next year. Cool. But September and the Seven Sorrows of Mary, if you don't have it yet, you may want to consider getting it at tradflags.com, and you can use that promo code RickCast at the bottom, and that'll give you 10% off your order, and it'll help support the program if you can. And if you want to, maybe get a mug, maybe get some bumper stickers, some magnets, the little rear view mirror flags, which are pretty cool. The rear view mirror flags are, I don't want to say they're a tough sell, but because every Catholic, what do? We put rosaries over the rear view mirror. Maybe put a rosary and a flag. I don't know. Depends on what you want to do. Check it out, tradflags.com, promo code RickCast. Help support the show, and we absolutely are indebted and thankful to the great people over at tradflags.com for A, making these quality products, and B, supporting the channel, being the first ones out of the gate. We don't even have 500 followers, and when my buddy Dean reached out and said, hey, would you be interested in supporting Rick, Keith didn't even waste time. He's like, I know him, done. I'll send him a promo code, and I'll send him some flags, and we'll get this thing started. That's the kind of stuff that I really like, because there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that do. One of the big talking points in Catholic media is, got to unite the clans and support others. Tradflags.com supports Catholic content. I mean, we're not an ostensibly Catholic show. That's not what we lead with, but our faith is here, and tradflags.com helps us with that. So thank you to the great people at tradflags.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our first story of the night. Bombing John Bolton and his mustache were raided today, and everybody went, oh, what? Let's check it out.
We're back with the Fox News Alert. We're just learning the FBI agents have raided the Maryland home of former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton. It happened at 7 a.m. this morning.
Shortly after the raid began, FBI Director Kash Patel posting on X, quote, no one is above the law. FBI agents on a mission.
David Smart joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, David.
Hey, guys, not much we can say at this point, but information will continue to develop. As you mentioned, about 7 o'clock this morning, FBI agents raided Ambassador Bolton's home. Notable, we're being told by two government sources that they are looking for classified documents as part of a potential leak investigation.
Now, remember, John Bolton was one of the people that was very, very pleased that Trump's Mar-a-Lago compound was raided. He was all over Fox News saying it was a great thing and amazing. John Bolton has never gotten over the fact that Trump booted him out after admitting him in. Of course, Trump did bomb Iran this time around, but Bolton was pushing hard to bomb and invade Iran, and Trump kind of booted him out, and Bolton's and his mustache have been coming after Trump ever since. So, payback's a witch, I guess.
We're told that Ambassador Bolton is not in custody. He's not under arrest, but it is notable they are at his Maryland home right now. We don't know how many agents are there. We're waiting to get a picture of the scene coming in right now, but we're told Ambassador Bolton, who was just on TV on another network a couple days ago talking about the Russia-Putin-Trump summit, is now under FBI investigation. Now, I want to be clear, these are long, and we're looking at some live photographs right now in Bethesda. That's clearly the road where Ambassador Bolton lives.
I do love these people. We are live looking at the road, and the road is there. Like, thanks, buddy.
And you can see some police cars outside there. But, this is going to be a long process. We saw the raid of former Trump advisor Roger Stone's home down in Florida several years ago. Eventually, he went to trial. We saw famously in August of 2022, exactly 3 years ago, a little bit more than 3 years ago, the raid on Mar-a-Lago. That still has the FBI in hot water. That's a little bit of a different situation as it was a former president, but it deals with classified documents.
So it's very interesting because I want to highlight this right here as I talk about this. Peter, I'm going to bring this up in about in a moment, but thank you for setting me up. That's why I want to leave the comment up. So today, FBI agents conducted a court-authorized search of Bolton's home. The investigation revived questions about whether Bolton revealed sensitive government details in his 2020 memoir after the Justice Department ended its related inquiry into the 2021 during the Biden regime. Bolton, the former Trump national security advisor, fired in 2019, said he was unaware of the search and was looking into it. Okay, what are you going to do? We already saw the cash comment. And then finally, search highlights continuing legal scrutiny over classified disclosures related to Bolton's memoir, but the exact basis and possible outcomes remain unclear. And this was something that I saw from Mr. Guns and Gear on X, and he stated that John Bolton, the FBI is going to raid John Bolton's house. What about Hillary? What about Joe Biden? What about Jean Karine Lesbian? What about Hillary Clinton? What about Barack Obama when that was mentioned? What about, Joe Biden in his garage? Why John Bolton? I think, in my personal opinion, when I saw this, John Bolton is le fall guy. He's going to be the one that the FBI is going to put sound and fury behind because it seems like nobody likes him. And that's an easy patsy for the Trump administration and the FBI to say, look, we are rooting out the corruption. We brought in John Bolton, even though he won't be, even if he is arrested, nothing is going to happen to him. And it just, I feel like this is almost a publicity thing, a big splash right before the weekend to kind of, highlight the fact that the FBI is doing things, especially in the shadow of the fact that Dan Bongino is rumored to be leaving because they're bringing in the Missouri AG as a co-deputy director. Never had a co-deputy director of the FBI. Strange that they need one now, even though super tight t-shirt Dan Bongino is supposedly cleaning it all out. So I feel like, and I think Pete Camo Lizard is with me on this one. You guys are all with me that this is the sacrificial lamb. This is the fall guy, so they can say they went after some of it without having to touch the quote unquote bigger fish like Hillary and like all these other people that are name dropped. And that's a little red meat that they throw out to the base, but nothing will happen to any of those people, and nothing really serious will happen to John Bolton. I mean, Trump didn't even know that the thing was happening.
No, I don't know about it. I saw it on television this morning. I'm not a fan of John Bolton. He's a real sort of a lowlife. When I hired him, he served a good purpose because, as you know, he was one of the people that forced Bush to do the ridiculous bombings in the Middle East. Bolton, he wants to always kill people, and he's very bad at what he does. But he worked out great for me because every time he doesn't talk, he's like a very quiet person, except on television. If he could say something bad about Trump, he'll always do that. But he really doesn't talk. He's quiet. And I'd walk into a room with him with a foreign country, and the foreign country would give me everything because they said, oh no, they're going to get blown up because John Bolton's there. He's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid.
Do you expect the DOJ to brief you on this?
Yeah, they'll brief me probably today sometime.
And the foreign minister.
I tell Pam and I tell the group. I don't want to know, but just you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer, but I feel that it's better this way.
Yeah, kind of a weird way to say that. Like, it's all me. I can do it if I want, but I don't want to. It's like, oh, weird flex, but that's fine. And so yeah, you have this this dog and pony show, wagging the dog in this case to show that the FBI is out there and it's fighting for you and it's cleaning up the swamp. And you're not going to get anything out of Bolton. They'll say, oh, well, there was some minor classified documents that were leaked and we're going to strip his security clearances and put him on probation or something like that. But you're not going to get much else. What other world leader wears a hat saying, I'm always right? That's what you get with Trump. I mean, there's a lot of bad Trump I've had in this administration, the second term. But the guy, you can't not help but like him. It's hard not to like the guy. He's wearing a hat that says, I'm always right. John Bolton's stupid. I'm right. He's a funny guy. He's dumb, but everybody thinks he's crazy. And it's like, all right, fine. But Yeah, Mark, yeah, he knew about it. He probably did. And he could be like, yeah, I just told him go do whatever you want to do. It's fine. I'm busy cleaning up DC. Y'all run around and Pam, what do you want to do? Whatever, you're hot. Go do this and that. And so all these other kinds of nonsensical stuff. But that's what you get with Trump. And like I said, it's red meat. People are freaking out about it. If it does one thing, I try to be balanced. Sometimes I kind of go off. Sometimes I do go off on some rickabonics and some rants. I try to be balanced in the way I approach these things. Maybe the feeling is, hey, if we go after Bolton, that'll shake the tree a little bit and we'll scare some other people into maybe coming forward, maybe making some side deals, maybe giving us information that'll find something else. Maybe, like I said, I'm throwing that out as a possible counter argument to what I just said before. It could be the case, it might not be the case, but either way, that's the big story of the night, is how everybody is just so up and excited and so happy that John Bolton is finally getting his due. And I don't really know if that's the case. And so it is what it is in that regard. And whatever the case may be, that I don't know. You guys are kind of jumping on that with me, and you guys hit that too. All right, so that's our first. Like I said, my thoughts are even more incoherent tonight than they usually are, which is bad. So that's our first story of the night here on RickCast. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell for more amazing insights like this as we continue it. And I do like that Peter's like, all right, Cash, you get to keep your job for like 3 more weeks and you get to keep your little Mossad girlfriend. It's okay. Yeah, I don't even want to get down that rabbit hole. He's dating some PragerU girl. And everybody's like, yeah, she's got to be an agent. she's got to be a Mossad. It's like, no, she's Mossad. Anyway, I would not sell him life insurance. Face orange raised. Wouldn't sell him life insurance. You guys are killing it. That's fantastic. It is all true. It is all true in that regard. So, that's our first story. That's the big deal. It's shaking Washington, D.C. because he's going after an establishment person. A well-established neocon, worked in a couple White Houses, has had security clearance. He's a known figure in the D.C. metro area. So they went to Bethesda because that's where they all live. Bethesda, Maryland is where all the highbrows and all the people, the lobbyists and all that stuff, they all live in Bethesda. Bethesda is a gorgeous area because it's right on the outside of D.C. So yeah, they'll raid his house. They'll get some pictures. They'll get some stuff. Maybe Pam Bondi will come out on Monday and being like, look at the stuff we got. We got all these documents. And some people will rejoice and everybody else will just, snore and move on to the next story because there's not much there. All right. Let's move on to our second story of the night here on RickCast. Thank you all so much for taking some time out of your Friday to hang out with me. The wrenches are here. And the wrenches are mighty. So let's look at this. This is kind of a funny story from Axios.com. Democratic police, their word police. Read the list. So, oh man, I hate all of you people. I hate Axios. I got to stop using them. This is like the third night in a row I've tried to do this. And there's nobody else that's doing this. Nobody else. All right, fine. Well, maybe I didn't do a lot of pre-work on this show, on this story. I thought it was going to actually work. But even though this blunt memo that came out, let me see. Can I just subscribe for free? Can I just use one of my emails? Fill out the field. Come on, man. I ain't doing any of that. So you had a blunt, and there was nobody else is covering the story. Only Axios. It was 13 hours ago. What are we doing? What am I doing? I don't know. Let's go to news. Maybe news will have something. Okay, so we can at least read this. Democrats are begging to ditch jargon like birthing person, privilege, Latinx, housing insecurity, justice involved individual. The point of this list, and I'll sign up for an account when I get back so I don't have to do this anymore. But I can say this. This is part of the desperate attempt by the left, by the Democratic Party, to try and corral what they created. It's the classic story in fairy tales where the bad guy creates a monster. And people are like, you better be careful. Don't create that monster because you're not going to be able to control it. And the bad guy says, don't worry, I'll be able to control it. I created it, blah, 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 like Frankenstein or something like that. So the Democrats created generations through colleges of wacko progressive libtards that are so ingrained with this word mentality. God bless, buddy. Thank you for hanging out with me, Brian. And saying, well, we can't do this anymore because people are tired of us word policing them, and they're tired of us saying, oh, microaggression, or that's a jargon that you can't use master bedroom anymore, or any of these other kinds of things, because culture has shifted a little bit. It's not all the way, but it's shifted enough to get to the point where we can't control it anymore. We actually have to release a list to say, you guys can't say this. And it's not even anything more than this third way think tank. Maybe we can get the memo. Ooh, that'd be good. Right, Michael? Michael's got it. Even better than me. Pandora's box. So for a party that spends billions of dollars trying to perfect language to connect voters, Democrats and their allies use an awful lot of words and phrases no ordinary person would ever dream of saying. And they spent all their time on Twitter, back when it was Twitter, before it was X, and in universities and in HR departments and all these places that they run to try and course correct you, to try and force you into a language that is not natural, that you don't want to use. The intent of this language was to include, broaden, empathize, accept, and embrace. And all it did was annoy everybody. The effect of the language is to sound like an extremely divisive, but the effect this language has had is to sound like extreme, divisive, elitist, Brian left and now I can't speak. Obfuscatory enforcers of wokeness. To please the few, this is the think tank, we have alienated the many, especially on cultural issues, where they say birthing person. And then they demand that you acknowledge they, them, transgender, zim, all of these other nonsensical terms, where our language sounds superior, haughty, and arrogant. And you're right, Mark. Words do matter. Isn't that what they've been saying? Words matter. Your words are violence. Your silence is violence. In reality, most Democrats do not run or govern on wildly out-of-touch social positions. The problem is their base, the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortezes, the Bernie Bros, the Jasmine Crockett's, the people that are highlighting of that, they love this language. They love the control that this language gave them. They love the ability to sound superior. They love the ability to sound enlightened by saying, oh, it's Latinx. Of course, if you are near and around Hispanic people like I am, they're like, Latin what? Don't call me that. And so it doesn't work. And so that's why this line isn't impressive. But voters would be excused to believe we do because of the words that come out of our mouths, words which sound like we were hiding behind unfamiliar phrases to mask extreme intent, which it was. The purpose of it was to push the Overton window farther to the left by making this language the accepted language of the masses. Problem is, you're not going to get the masses to do it. So these are some of the words the therapy speak. These words say, I'm more empathetic than you, and you're callous to hurting others' feelings. Privilege, violence, as in environmental violence, dialogue, othering, triggering, microaggressions, assault, invalidation, progressive stack, centering, safe space, holding space, body shaming. You hear celebrities use these words. You hear people on CNN use these words. You hear activists use these kinds of phrases. And every time you and I heard them, we would just roll our eyes until they were in the back of our head and down the street. Be aware of words proliferating in elite circles that have closed off open conversations because as soon as somebody says triggering or safe space or attack or assault, the conversation's over because the normal person's going, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not talking to you if you're going to try and say stuff like you're othering this person or you're body shaming that person or and I'm holding space here. Shut up. Seminar language room. This language says, I'm smarter and more concerned about important issues than you. And this was the stuff. Yes, Peter, this is the language of HR. I wonder if HR is like one of them. This is a long list. I'm not going to go through all of them. Actually, it's not that bad. But the language of the I call this is condescending language. This is condescending language that the left likes to use to try and win arguments and make themselves seem superior. Subverting norms, system of oppression, critical theory, cultural appropriation, postmodern, and of course, I just used Overton window, but hey, that's the only word I know. Existential threat to climate, planet, democracy, the economy, whatever, women, blah, blah, blah. When they use these words people don't understand, studies show that part of their brain that signals distrust become more active, undermining their ability to reach them. When somebody says, well, we're subverting norms, people are like, we're talking about Star Wars. What are you talking about subverting norms? I'm talking about pizza. What do you mean cultural appropriation? And it's just, you feel like you've been dragged into HR when these words start getting used, like the organizational jargon, radical transparency, small d democracy, barriers to participation, stakeholders, the unhoused, food insecurity, housing insecurity, and a person who immigrated. Democrats can fight for the poor, the hungry, and the homeless, which they don't, and immigrants more effectively if they speak in everyday language. The issue with all of this, right? The shift in language, the constructs, and all of this, the problem is that you have generations, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and they are the language of the overmedicated, Pink Camo, you're right. They're stuck. They won't be able to move off this. You can't change the spots on this tiger because these people want to use this. These people want to use this language. These people want to try and subvert the conversation, which I just said, and I don't really care. But they want to make sure that they sound smarter than you because it makes them feel like they are smarter than you, even though they are not. So real quick, we will never abandon our values or stop doing the things to protect those who need help, encouragement, trust, blah, blah, blah. Communicating in authentic ways that welcome rather than drive voters would be a good start. The problem is they can't communicate in authentic ways because they lack authenticity. They don't believe in empathy. They don't believe in any of this stuff. They believe in power. And when it's raw power that they are interested in, of course it's going to look bad. Of course they're going to use these kinds of words. It is retarded. It's 100% retarded, Mark. But it's interesting that the Democrats are like, let's try to get this message out. Of course, do you think a professor is going to say, well, we don't have to say subverting norms? He's going to get run out of the classroom by the students. The students, the younger generations, they're not going to accept this because you know what they're going to say? Oh, you guys are just trying to normalize it because you're just trying to be blah, 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 blah. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope it went well because that's never good when you get the HR meeting. Wasn't that Friday at 4, was it? It wasn't Friday at 4 because you might as well just start looking on LinkedIn for a new job. Don't ask me if I know from personal experience. But you have this word policing taking place because Democrats are desperate to try and recapture normal people. Because they've realized after 2016, 2020, which they know wasn't authentic because of COVID and the steal, and then 2024, that this language just puts people off. It just puts people off when it's like, oh, you can't, the Latinx population, like, what the F is a Latinx? What are you talking about? It's like Jim Carrey from the Truman Show. It's like, who are you talking to? What are you talking about? And so it's good to see that. But Peter's no snitch. Peter's no snitch, because snitches get stitches, baby. And Peter's no snitch, man. Yeah, HR's the worst. HR is the worst because they are, they don't have a real job. What do you say? All right, ladies and gentlemen, interesting to see that the list is being out. Let's see now. It's being dropped right before the beginning of the academic year. Maybe they're trying to get it out to college campuses, high schools, and seeing if the teachers and the professors can try. Well, first of all, you got to get the teachers in these schools, in these secondary schools, to include this language, which they're not going to, by the way. This is going to be a failed experiment because they don't want to give up the condescending tone. And I'll tell you why. The kids, the youths, the two youths, they don't like this language. Kids in high school right now, it's like, oh, these are oppressive norms. They're like, what are you talking about? And so they have to try and switch up to try and get back these kids that they have lost, which it will not work. And I'm so happy it won't. All right, this is RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Let's get to our third story of the night. Miss Maxwell's interview, what Epstein's ex-girlfriend said about Trump. Let's just skip to that one. Here we go.
And did you ever hear Mr. Epstein or anybody say that President Trump had done anything inappropriate with masseuses or with anybody in your world?
Absolutely never. In any context.
So, on the surface, that's a win for Trump. That's a win for Trump because he can say, and Ghislaine Maxwell, who was Jeffrey Epstein's buddy, said I did nothing wrong. Now, let me throw out this, which I know people are going to like. If you're Maxwell, if you're Ghislaine Maxwell, I forgot to tell you, we're gonna copy this. I'm gonna get this one up there. Let me ask you this, wrenches. If you're Maxwell and you're trying to get a pardon from Trump, isn't that what you would say? Wouldn't you be like, Trump did nothing wrong. Trump did nothing wrong. Trump, give me the pardon. Trump did nothing wrong. Trump is great. I'm just saying it's very convenient that she said Trump didn't do anything incorrect or bad, because that helps her case when she's trying to get that sweet, sweet pardon. I'm just bringing it up. People may not like it, but it may be true. The Justice Department on Friday released transcripts of interviews with Miss Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime quote-unquote associate, in a move the Trump administration cast as a step forward towards transparency after weeks of backlash over their absolute lunacy and not being able to release the Epstein transcripts. Pretty much ever since Pam Law and Bunny Bondi dropped the ball by saying, breaking news, we're going to have some Epstein information coming up on Monday. And ever since she said that, it's been a whirlwind of mess-ups and just tomfoolery. The transcripts show Maxwell, who is serving 20 years in prison for something that apparently doesn't exist because Trump says it's a hoax, praised President Donald Trump and told a Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche on July 24th that she never saw him engage in any nasty behavior. Once again, skeptic in me, I don't know, whatever you want to say. I'm like, if I'm Maxwell and the Deputy Attorney General here is asking me, did Trump do anything bad? I'm going to go, nope. You sure? Yep. Hey, Trump, can I get that pardon now? I just cleared you. Yep, he didn't do nothing wrong. He is fine. A-okay. Jeffrey Epstein is bad. In fact, she even said Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Okay, so she's doing multiple stuff. Let's get this interview up here. Hold on.
And did you ever hear
that? Here we go. Let's replace video. Go.
Well, one thing that's fascinating is she point blank tells the Justice Department, quote, I was part of the beginning process of the Clinton Global Initiative. And then she goes on to say that she believes Jeffrey Epstein actually funded the Clinton Global Initiative and that they came up with the idea together while on a trip to Davos. Now, we know that this lines up with the exact start of the Clinton Foundation in 2002, was exactly when Jeffrey Epstein was flying President Clinton around personally as kind of aerial chauffeur around Africa. I think they went to 5 different countries in Africa together publicly. And this was actually part of the process that I think brought Jeffrey Epstein a little bit too close to the sun, was when he was personally flying President Clinton around while President Clinton was setting up the Clinton Foundation. And we know that what the Clinton Foundation was doing was essentially pay to play while Hillary Clinton was making her rise in New York Senate politics and then into the Secretary of State, and while they had all this clout and connections and pull within the Democrat Party, that they could essentially sell U.S. foreign policy to foreign donors and to big corporations so that they could essentially, instead of doing things in the national interest, have the State Department, the Defense Department, the CIA, USAID, essentially twist the governance and policies of foreign countries using the battering ram of the American diplomacy and war and trade machine in order to profit the people who personally paid the Clintons for those favors. And so this is totally in line with what I think is the most persuasive theory of the case on Epstein, which is that he was a money bundler. He helped in the structuring of these complex faux philanthropic influence machines. He was a deal maker, and it looks like he was part of the deal making that went into the origins of the Clinton Foundation, which we're now learning as well. The Justice Department shut down the FBI investigation into 3 different FBI investigations into the Clinton Foundation were shut down, and the IRS investigation was shut down, we're told now, because the IRS claimed they did not have enough resources to investigate the Clinton Foundation. Evidently, the fraud there was so massive, the IRS's defense to get out of political cronyism is that I guess the fraud was too big to jail. They simply couldn't take it on.
So if you're Ghislaine Maxwell, whatever her name is, I'm never going to say it right. I don't care. Your golden goose has dropped before you. You have an opportunity because you are looking to get out of jail. You want to get out ASAP. You want to get out of this thing. And the Deputy Attorney General is laying these questions out saying, did Trump ever do anything? Nope. Never saw him do anything. What else did you see? Jeffrey Epstein hung out with Hillary Clinton and they used USAID money to fund the Clinton Global Initiative. Does that work? I mean, this information that she is spewing out, it may be true. It may not be true. I'm just looking at it from a crazy person's point of view. This is all speculation. If you're Maxwell, tell him everything you want to know. Tell him everything. Give him a golden goose platter. Yep, the Clintons hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. They used U.S. foreign power to set up the Clinton initiative, and they used all that stuff. Trump did nothing wrong. Where's my pardon? Get me out of here and get me to Israel. That's essentially what she's trying to do. That's how I see it. I don't see it in any other way. She's trying to get out of jail. She's already on work release. Now this golden opportunity has been dropped in front of her lap. Hey, right? Trump's innocent. Yes, he is. Trump is absolutely 100% innocent of everything. He did nothing wrong. He did nothing. And the Clintons are evil. The Clintons are the bad guys. And guess what? Bing! See ya. Here's your stuff. Goodbye. Dude, if she gets out and gets to Israel, she's done. She'll get out of here. Especially if she's going to start dropping dimes on this stuff. Trump's administration is going to protect her like she's a golden goose, because she is. That's how I look at it. That's the only, she's being given an opportunity, and if she's smart, she might even be saying what they tell her to say. You never know. But that's how I look at it. I don't think it's any kind of groundbreaking thing. Obviously, MAGA X is like, look at that. Boom. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like, look at that. Trump didn't do anything wrong, and it's all the Clintons. Red meat, red meat, red meat. setting it up, man. I'm just telling you, it's setting up for Miss Maxwell to get out of prison and, be dropped off in Jerusalem, right? Bye. See ya. Have a good day. Mark, you and I can have another gentleman's bet on that to see how long she actually lives in that regard. Because she even said Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself either. Nope. Sorry. So she's given all the red meat. She's given all the stuff that MAGA wants to hear. So she's the greatest asset the Trump administration has right now. That's it. And here's the caveat, it may all be 100% true. It may all be 100% true. I certainly think the stuff she's saying about Trump is true, that he never did anything. They only hung out in social circles. I still believe that. But it's so good to have that in your back pocket when you say, oh, by the way, Maxwell's associate said I never did anything wrong. There you go. All you people who try to say all this other stuff, she's vouching for me. It's a great tool to have. No, I'm just saying. So that's all. I mean, there's really not much else we could talk about in that regard. Listen, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's good, man. I am looking at it from that point of view. Obviously, I do not agree with it. Do I think the Epstein thing is all real? Absolutely. Do I think the island exists? Yeah. Do I think these women were absolutely abused? Yes, I do. But you also got to look at, how the game is being played. That's what I'm doing. I'm just taking a 10,000-foot view of this and looking how the game is being played in this regard. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So it's funny. Peter didn't snitch on anybody, but the first chance Maxwell got, she started singing like a songbird. As soon as she got a chance, she was like, la 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 la. What else do you want me to say? So interesting enough. All right, here we go. Last story of the week, and for the next week as well. Weekend preview. Weapons gets a third shot at first place. Weapons had a great 44% hold last week, and so now they're looking at another, another 50% hold on this. And it looks like, because there's nothing new, which is why I went to go see Americana, because that dropped last week, and there's no new movies, so I watched that. Review will drop tomorrow morning. And then I watched a streaming movie called The Pickup with Eddie Murphy. That'll drop next Saturday. Not a lot of new movies in August. August tends to get real tough in that regard. But let's see. Weapons, they think is going to come between 12 to 15 million. I'm going to say 15 million. I think it performs to the max end of these numbers because it's got a lot of buzz. It's original. People are going to go back and see it multiple times because of the mystery element. Think 15 million. Freakier Friday continues to plunge a little bit more. I'm going to say Weekend Box Office Pro thinks 7 to 9 million. I'm thinking 7 million. I think 7 million is going to be the area. I don't think there's a lot of momentum for this film because it's a film that nobody really wanted. And the nostalgia factor is playing off pretty quickly. Then finally, Fantastic Four First Steps. They think it's going to jump back over Nobody 2 because Nobody 2 didn't have a really solid cinema score. It only had a B+. So it may drop to maybe 5. It came in with 9 million. It'll probably come in like 5 million next week or after this weekend, just to try and get something out into theaters before it makes all of its money on streaming. But that's pretty bad. If number 3, I'm about to sneeze, dude. That's a problem. Number 3 is 4 to 6 million. This is an absolutely atrocious weekend. This is an atrocious week. If the top earner makes 15 million in 3 days, and the second one makes maybe 7, and the third one makes maybe 6, it doesn't matter if even if all 3 of these come in at the high end. Let me see, because I can't do math. 15 plus 9 plus 6. You're looking at 30 million for the entire weekend. Plus whatever, maybe it comes into 50 with all the other films here. 50 million. That's a $30 million drop from last weekend. Last weekend was an $82 million weekend, and that was a $20 million drop from the weekend before. It is careening off of a cliff. So, I mean, I'll play along. I'll say Fantastic Four does come in third with 4 million, right? 4 million. So we'll see how that does. Once again, Weapons, 15 million. Freakier Friday, 7 million. Fantastic Four, 4 million. And if you, and I will drop a video Monday at 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time with the total box office called the Box Office Breakdown on RickCast. We'll see if I am right. And I probably am. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this episode of RickCast before we take our week break. So thank you so much. Stay tuned to the channel because we'll have shorts. We're going to try and aim for having some kind of content on the short form every day for the next week. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell for when the shorts do drop. It helps support the channel. Take the show, stream it out to everybody you know. Drop it on your social medias. Drop it in your circles if you can. That's also a huge help as well. I will talk to you all in 2 weeks, which will be the 1st of September. I will talk to you all September 1st. God bless. And I will see you all in the first week of September. Y'all stay good out there. And until that day comes, free Dexter Taylor.